Hey everyone, welcome to week 2 of Groups at Home. We are so excited for the opportunity to gather together in living rooms and large spaces and coffee shops all over the city, all over the region. It's going to be a good time together. Today, we're going to open up Jesus' words found in Matthew chapter 5 as he sits down on a hillside. He says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Tatum Miller, our community pastor, is going to open up what grief, what mourning, what lament looks like. And so you're in for a real treat as we lean into this discussion together.
What's up, everybody? This week we're talking about mourning. Instead of just going into questions or context or anything like that, I wanted to start with a story. A couple years ago, I took a class trip to Buffalo, New York. It was the springtime, but it was still super cold up there. We were going to visit the community that was affected by the Tops Buffalo shooting that happened at the grocery store up there. If you don't know about this, a few years ago, a young man walked into a predominantly black grocery store and killed 10 people with an assault rifle. He had planned this out for months, and for him, this was a huge event, but for everybody else, they were just going to get food to feed their families. Elderly people, children, showed up to this grocery store, and some of them never walked out. So we were going up there to learn how the community was walking through the season of lament. See, I knew that this was going to be a hard time for me, so I spent time in prayer, reading scripture and all that. But when I got there, I just wasn't expecting what I saw. I saw a community that was still using that grocery store because it was the only store in the area. They had to go there. Sure, they had memorials and things like that set up, but I couldn't fathom walking in and knowing what had happened and being affected by that every single day and still buying food for your nightly dinner. The people there had to keep going. They had to push through. They had to lament together so they could keep shopping and keep feeding their families. There was no option to drive 20 miles down the road to go to a different store because of the horrible things that happened here, because many people didn't even have cars. So we showed up and we helped them. We walked with them. We were with them in their time of pain. So our class trip thing was to put on a town hall so people could get their grief out. And I didn't really know what I was going to say. I just kind of showed up. I wanted to hear from other people. My part was just to read scripture in between some of the speakers that were speaking. I was speaking in between a son who had lost his mother and a college kid who had been affected. I think he had also lost his friend in this shooting. And they told their stories, and I was just baffled. I was baffled by the amount of hope that was also present in the room. I didn't expect that. See, when I think about lament, and what many of us also think is that lament is just hopelessness. It's emptiness. But that's not true. God is with us in our pain. The community had rallied together and walked with God through this pain. Even though there was pain beyond this, beyond this one event, the historic systemic racism that affected this community for generations, they still push through. What are you lamenting? In our world today, there are many things to lament, whether that's war, homelessness, COVID-19, racial injustice, or maybe you lost somebody, or maybe you're going through a divorce, you lost your job, you lost your house, you lost a relationship. What are you lamenting? Christ shows us that he shows up in our lamenting. If we're not careful, though, we can get stuck in a loop. We can get stuck in this season of pain over and over if we don't allow Christ to break through. If we don't allow Christ's promises to speak into our lives. In the midst of all this, Jesus says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." I know this is going to be a super heavy topic for this week, and I just want to let you guys know that there is no pressure. You don't have to share your deepest, darkest secrets or anything like that, or the hardest things you're going through. But I just want to let you know that God is with you in your pain. We are with each other in our pain. You have your group to rely on. You have this Christian community to rely on. But just know as we walk through these hard topics, Jesus said, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted." Don't shy away from your pain. Don't sweep it under the rug. Breathe out your grief and breathe in the peace of God.